Welcome to the Pirates vs. Werewolves podcast. This week, let's get ready for a pirate raid into two totally wild flash fiction stories.
Okay, sounds good.
Think like blockbuster action movies meets those page turner moments, the ones you can't put down.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
All packed into these incredible bite-sized narratives that you sent our way.
Nice.
So yeah, we're gonna unpack the essential insights kind of tucked away in these tales.
Cool. What's really interesting about flash fiction is the way it builds these vivid worlds and compelling characters all in like so few words.
Right.
And these two stories, they really show off that power.
Okay. So our first flash fiction story this week is Claws of the Andes.
Okay.
And it drops you right into a world where, ancient traditions are clashing with modern threats, all high up in the mountains.
Sounds intense.
Oh, it is. And this one came from you, and it's a fantastic setup, right? You've got the old ways facing down new development, and there's this really intriguing supernatural twist woven throughout.
I like it already.
We're going to dig into the central conflict here, which is, a teenager wrestling with a destiny he doesn't want any part of, all while a mining operation starts encroaching on sacred land. It makes you wonder, what really makes us step up and take responsibility when everything around us is changing? And what kind of power might be hidden in the beliefs of the past?
It's that core tension, right, that grabs you right away.
Yeah.
This universal struggle between what we want and like the weight of our heritage, but then it gets amplified by this supernatural element.
Oh, yeah.
It suddenly makes everything feel so much more intense.
And then, bam, we're doing a total 180 with Wolf's Bane, high school drama, but with a serious werewolf twist.
Nice. Love it.
You also send us this one, and it just dives right into those classic teenage anxieties, about fitting in, the ups and downs of new crushes, and that very real fear of being exposed for who you truly are.
Oh, yeah. I remember those days.
Especially when who you are involves sharp teeth and howling at the moon.
Yikes. Tough crowd.
So we'll be exploring how this one werewolf team is dealing with all the craziness of high school while trying to figure out if the new guy is actually secretly a werewolf hunter.
Ooh.
Yeah. Get ready for teenage angst, some crazy heightened senses, and a whole lot of suspicion.
It's like they took the epic scale of the Andes, right?
Yeah.
And then shrank it down to the pressure cooker of high school.
Right.
But both stories, they explore these themes of identity, where you belong, and facing the unknown.
Okay, hang on to your pirate hats because we're launching our first pirate raid into Claws of the Andes.
All right, let's go.
We're going to pull out all the juicy parts.
Yeah.
So, starting right at the beginning, you meet Mateo, a teenager living in the Andes, and he is not into the traditional path that's been set out for him.
Oh, teenagers.
Right.
Yeah, easy.
He's supposed to become a Puma warrior, but he's like, no thank you.
Gotcha.
He finds all the rituals with the old shaman T2, like the chanting and the herbs and all that.
Yeah.
Totally tedious.
Yeah.
He's way more interested in soccer and girls, which, is classic teenager stuff.
Makes sense.
Right? That desire for freedom and a more modern life.
Yeah.
But it's a big contrast to those ancient traditions he's expected to embrace.
Huge contrast.
And that resistance right there, it creates immediate tension in the story.
Totally. Mateo's relatable, It's that feeling of being young and wanting to do your own thing, even when there are these expectations that have been around forever.
Right.
It's a conflict within himself, which is like the core of so many great stories. But here, as you mentioned, it's layered with this very specific cultural and we'll soon see supernatural heritage too.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think Mateo's initial boredom tells us about how relevant these traditions feel to a modern teenager?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It shows that maybe there's this disconnect between the older generation's worldview and what younger people are actually experiencing. And then, boom, everything changes when the mining company shows up. And they're not messing around. Their machinery is described as roaring like angry beasts, which immediately makes you think about the threat to nature and maybe even to the spiritual side of the mountains.
Oh, wow.
The villagers are terrified, which shows how much power the company has over them and how much they depend on those traditional protectors.
That image of industry and machines invading this more natural, traditional world, it's a classic way to show an antagonist in these kinds of stories.
Yeah.
And using roaring beasts to describe it. It's so powerful.
It is.
It portrays this this alien destructive force just coming into their world, and suddenly the stakes are higher. It's not just about Mateo anymore. Now it's about like his whole community surviving, their entire way of life. What do you think that kind of imagery tells us about how the author wants us to feel about the mining company?
It definitely paints them as invaders, people who don't respect what's already there, this existing harmony. Okay, so here's where things get really interesting. Old man T2, he confronts the miners head on.
Brave.
And he starts talking about the pack and the mountain spirits.
Oh, boy.
At first, they just laugh. They think he's a crazy old man.
Yeah.
But then everything changes. T2 transforms into this massive werepuma. It's like he becomes the mountain's power in physical form. The way they describe it, fur rippled across T2's skin, claws replaced his gnarled hands, and the air thrummed with power. It's like, whoa, wow. You can feel this supernatural force taking over, and all those traditions that Mateo thought were boring, they suddenly become very, very real.
That's a huge turning point, isn't it? You go from thinking it's all folklore to seeing real magic. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about the world. And that description of T2 changing, it's so important for us to believe what's happening. It's like it's saying, hey, there are forces out there that our modern thinking can't explain.
It's like a reality check.
Totally.
And that transformation in T2, it triggers something in Mateo.
Interesting.
It's described as like this intense feeling, like fire licking at his veins, a wildness surging beneath his skin.
Oh, wow.
And guess what? He transforms too.
Oh, way.
And he becomes a werepuma, which shows there's this lineage of protectors passed down through generations, maybe through magic, who knows.
That's incredible.
They team up, T2 and Mateo, and with the villagers now all fired up, they actually managed to defend their land. It's violent, though. The story says the Pact of the Puma was resealed in violence and victory, which shows how important their actions were, but also how much it cost them.
That's heavy. What do you think Mateo's transformation, happening right after T2's, tells us about his connection to his heritage, even if he wasn't ready to accept it at first?
It makes you think that power was always inside him, just waiting for the right moment to come out. And the fact that they have to resort to violence, it highlights that these aren't just like symbolic battles. There are real consequences when people fight over land and traditions.
It's true.
It makes you ask, how much are we willing to sacrifice to protect what's important to us?
Yeah, big question.
In the end, Mateo sees things differently. The mountain isn't just a bunch of rocks to him anymore. It's alive. He might not love all the rituals, but he gets why they exist now. He accepts his destiny. He wasn't just Mateo anymore. He was a Puma warrior, and he had a mountain to protect.
I love that.
His whole journey, from being a rebellious teenager to taking on responsibility and connecting with his heritage, it feels like a really important message. What do you think it says about the power of belief, and maybe even the fact that those things we think are mystical, maybe they are real when we're up against real threats?
It definitely makes you wonder if belief itself can be a source of power, especially when it's tied to a place and to looking out for your community.
Right.
It brings up a really interesting question. Is the power real because they believe in it, or does believing in it let them access a power that's already there?
It's like, what came first?
Exactly. And what does that mean for how we understand the world?
Big stuff. Okay, ready to shift gears. Time for our next pirate raid, and this time we're diving into the very different world of Wolfsbane.
Let's do it.
Now we're in high school, something most of us can relate to, but with a cool werewolf twist. There's a whole werewolf pack trying to blend in. We meet Lydia, a werewolf teen, and her senses are so sharp that she's always on alert for danger.
Going from those ancient mountains to high school, it's a big change.
It is.
But both settings, they're full of tension, right?
Yeah.
And they're both about figuring out like who you are and where you sit in.
Exactly. And then Silas Blackwood shows up, and everything changes for Lydia.
Uh-oh. What'd he do?
Well, he's got all the classic bad boy looks.
Oh, no.
Piercing green eyes with that, come hither look.
I know the type.
But it's the smell of wolfsbane that really freaks Lydia out.
Oh, that's not good.
It's like a huge red flag. This one detail instantly makes you think he's the bad guy, and it sets up the main question of the story. Is he a werewolf hunter?
That one little detail, the wolfsbane, it takes this ordinary high school setting and injects the supernatural right into it.
It does.
Instantly, you're on edge, you feel suspicious.
Yeah.
He's got that bad boy look, but then there's the wolfsbane, which brings in a real danger, something way beyond typical teenage drama. What do you think Lydia's assuming, just based on that smell?
That's the thing, right? Her werewolf senses are giving her information, but how she interprets it, that's what drives the story. And then the flash fiction story throws in all these classic high school elements, rumors spreading like crazy, the need to fit in, the whole new crush thing, but it's all way more intense because of Lydia's secret.
Yeah.
She's trying so hard to keep a low profile.
Right.
But then there are those accidental bumps in the hallway from curious classmates.
Yes, those accidental bumps.
It constantly reminds you that she's one wrong move away from being exposed. You ever felt that way?
Yeah.
Like you had to hide something just to get through the day.
Totally. It's like high school just magnifies those anxieties, and then you add in the werewolf thing, and it's like one wrong move, one flash of a fang, and your whole world changes. It's like everyone's always performing in high school, even without the supernatural stuff.
So true. And then there's this full moon bonfire scene. Everyone's there hanging out. But for Lydia and her pack, it's terrifying.
I can see why.
It's like a perfect hunting ground if someone wanted to come after them.
Yeah.
This mix of a normal high school event and this huge danger, it's like what keeps you hooked on the story.
The bonfire, which is supposed to be like this fun social thing, suddenly becomes dangerous.
Yeah.
And then you've got the full moon, a classic werewolf trigger hanging over everything.
Right. It's like a double whammy.
It's so smart how the story uses this familiar setting to create danger and to show the struggles of trying to be normal when you're not.
So Lydia decides she has to find out what's up with Silas. So she uses her super sense of smell to investigate.
Oh, this is good.
And what she finds is hilarious. Instead of like silver bullets and stuff, she smells wolfsbane and motor oil and stale cheese puffs.
What? That's incredible.
It's so random.
It's so funny.
It's totally not what you expect. It makes Silas seem less scary and more like a lovable mess.
I love how that one detail changes everything. It makes you realize that things aren't always what they seem, and sometimes the things we're afraid of are actually kind of silly.
Totally. And then, bam, we find out that Silas is actually just a wildlife photographer, but a really bad one.
Oh, no.
He even admits it, saying, "Turns out I massively suck at wildlife photography."
That's great.
It turns this potential threat into this like awkward guy who just wants to take pictures of animals. It shows how easily we jump to conclusions. Have you ever judged someone too quickly and then found out you were totally wrong?
Oh, yeah. All the time. I think we all do.
We do. It's like a reminder that first impressions can be deceiving. But just when you think things are calming down, Maya, another werewolf, shows up in her full wolf form, and then there's this howl. You know it means trouble. Lydia goes from suspecting Silas to trusting him, shoving her camera at him and saying, "Time to prove you're not totally useless, Hunter Boy."
It's a quick change, but it makes sense. She has to adapt to this new danger. It shows that even though Silas wasn't the bad guy she thought he was, he might still be important for facing this new threat.
Yeah.
It keeps you wondering what's going to happen next.
Totally. So, taking a step back, what do these two completely different stories mean for us? In Claws of the Andes, you see this connection between belief, tradition, and protecting your home.
It really does.
It makes you think about respecting other ways of life and what happens when people don't.
Do you think there's more to those ancient stories than we realize?
It makes you wonder about the value of tradition, the wisdom that might be hidden in ways of life that seem old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Maybe progress doesn't always mean leaving the past behind.
And wolfsbane, it uses the supernatural to show us what it's like to be a teenager.
Yeah.
All those worries about being different, the awkwardness of trying to fit in, the uncertainty of new relationships, it's all there, just amplified by werewolves and hunters.
And it reminds you that people aren't always what they seem. We make snap judgments, and a lot of times we're wrong. It's so true. Both stories are set in such different worlds, but they both show those moments where normal life collides with the extraordinary.
Did he do?
They make you think about destiny, the importance of community, and all the surprises that are hidden in everyday life.
It's a testament to how powerful a short story can be.
Totally. So what did you think of these stories? What stood out to you? What questions do you have? We'd love to hear from you.
We want to hear your thoughts.
And now for a final thought. In a world where everyone's looking for logic and scientific answers, what role do stories of the supernatural play in how we see ourselves and the world? Are they just entertainment, or are they tapping into something deeper about human nature, our fears, our dreams, that sense of wonder we all have?
That's a big question. Maybe these stories give us a way to explore things we're scared of or possibilities we wouldn't normally think about. Maybe they help us understand the unknown parts of ourselves and the world in a way that feels safe.
Thanks for joining us for this pirate raid on the Pirates vs. Werewolves podcast. Don't forget to rate and follow for more amazing adventures into the world of flash fiction.